just like everybody else, it's time to start thinking about winter. I'm doing a cleanup job today. We've got some old semi wheels and a pile of scrap metal here, this garbage. I don't want it to get snowed on and have to get frozen to the ground. I've got an empty Dodge for a couple of days, so it's a good time to go ahead, load up as much as I can, maybe take it in tomorrow. It's already late in the day. These scrap yards around here all keep bankers hours. They close up at 4:30. It's hard to get there. They are open on Saturday at one place, so that's always an option. But I'm gonna load up what I can, and you can watch. The hay all in the barn the other day, and wouldn't you know, I worked on this door for probably an hour and a half, and of course we had a hinge roller up there on that track and it came off. I thought it was broken, but it just kind of sits on there on a hook. I can't find that thing anywhere. Oh, I left my hammer up there. Gotta get the ladder out and get back to it, but right now I've just got it propped up with a brick or a cinder block so that it can sit there, but it blew off during the night last night. It got pretty windy. Here's the hay pile that was sweating so bad. You would not believe what happened with that. I've never seen so much moisture coming off of bales and to have it get ruined so fast. Look at this. Just absolute heat and mold. It was so hot. So that's why we left it out. It was too moist to put in the barn and it would have created heat in there. So this way I knocked off the whole first load this morning and laid them out. The cows aren't so fussy. They don't mind. See, they're getting up because I'm close. Feed us some more. Feed us some more. You like to lay where I'm feeding them all the time anyway. But give them a little snack while I'm here. It's hard with the shortened daylight hours to get them 3 or 4 feedings in a day with the hours that I keep. I do have one thing in the scrap metal that is going to stay here. He gets these containments from fuel tanks, different jobs that the containment was on loan, or maybe it won't like hold, or just isn't needed anymore because of the new design of things. I've got a serious need for a feeder for these guys because it's been so bad. We're gonna use one of those containments, turn it into a feeder, take the torches and cut out to the side. Load is getting to be pretty respectable. Like a month and a half ago I did a live stream and these wheels were sitting in the driveway, supposed to go in on a separate load on their own just on the way to work. Didn't happen. I'm taking care of it. There's room on the load, and I'll tell you what, I am finding more stuff. I got the other end of the shop cleaned out, some space for storage, and now I am trying to figure out what to do about this. Look at this tiny little pathway I have to go through here. That's it. That's my foot. I've got one step through here. The light switch is way over here behind me. And of course, it's a constant job. Everyone on every farm is doing a cleanup job. Like, why on earth is the cover not on this electrical panel? It's all nice and neat hanging up right here. That's going back on. We need to really get a 3-way switch. The old farmer used to use this as his walk-in door. And light switches are here. I have to walk from there all through here, through that tiny little spot, right to here to get to that switch. Flashlights are good to have around here, but I'll tell you what, little piles, here's a pile, all kinds of pipe fittings. I don't know what's good, what's junk. This is not where it should be, not at all. And you know, I was just looking, There's a 2x4 here. It'd be easy enough to add another 2x4 there and put a shelf here. Move this ready heater over one more and have an extra storage space. There's a couple little jinky, crappy shelves there, but at least it's getting stuff up off of the floor because this is not the way it's supposed to be. So I've been slowly working on all this. I've got this area cleaned out and swept. Found plenty of dead mice from last year. I went through the whole shop and rebaited it with some more of that tomcat bait. If you didn't see the video last year that I made about that, it works so good. Just make sure you get the one in the yellow tub that says bait chunks with the bromethylene in it. They're now doing bait packs, which is something new and apparently real easy to use. I will tell you a little tip that I found. We had a bunch of this scrap PVC laying around. I can cut it all off with the chop saw or even a hacksaw. Put the baits in there, wire it in so that the little critters like the possums and the raccoons can't carry it off. If it's wired in, they can't just shake it out and eat it. You got to have some big enough pipe. The 3-inch works really good for rats, but some of the small possums can still get in there. I don't know if I'm getting any rats or not. I haven't found any, and I don't want to. But I've got soybeans sitting here. I've got sunflowers sitting over here, and chipmunks have been coming in here eating it all up. Well, I don't have any metal cans, but I've got this blue barrel, and I'm going to swap that over today. So the scrap metal is turning into a shop organization because this pile, holy cow. He'd gone to an auction years ago. Everything got unloaded here from the house garage when I got tired of looking at it. The kids did the best they could, but this stuff needs to be on pallet shelves. And the kids have overrun the pallet shelving. So that's a whole nother project. I've got an empty pallet shelf that I'm not using. Why have this shop back? The old owners left it here. We don't even know if it runs. I'm throwing it in the truck. It's gotta all go. Axes. Oh my, just a terrible mess. Lots and lots of Detroit diesel engine parts and stuff in here. I found Packard parts, Ford parts. I found a neat find that I didn't know why it was blocking the way. This area was filled full of a pallet with gas cans on it, so I found a shelf for that. Look at all this. This is all actually good stuff. A bunch of old Packard and Ford Model T parts. So they're getting listed for sale. If you need stuff, let me know. It's gotta go, because this doorway, look at how far that was sticking out. This box on a pallet was sticking out almost as far as there, and it's not worth tearing open that brand new tire trying to get this tractor in and out. So I cleaned up this area here. We're going to be doing some grain cleaning videos here pretty soon because all this alfalfa seed has got to get run through the cleaner to separate out all of the grass seed and whatnot. And I even found a space over there for all of his corn planter hopper bins. I'm yet to figure out what to do about these. I really don't want to junk them, and they're not going to fit on this load unless I haul a trailer too. But I'm tired of weed whacking around them. And you know what? They make great little mouse apartments, so they need to go too. I'll throw them on Craigslist today and see if somebody will give me a little bit of gas money for them. If I get rid of those, that'll get rid of 2 more piles here, because there's a pile of the bins here. Here's the shelf that I had in the barn. That's perfect for all of his little gas cans. And I got to figure out what to do about this thing. We're not using it. Picked it up at an auction. I got to pull up the auction website, see what we paid for it, and get rid of it because, you know, he gets that mentality that everything's worth something. You might need it someday, and I am tired of the someday not coming. If you haven't used it in 5 years, you got to get rid of it. I've got tractor equipment parts here. They didn't belong to us. I think they were in the auction stuff also. So started a little shelf over there of a bunch of John Deere parts and whatnot. I can't even get to this tool chest, so it's just got to go. I want to line up the tool chest right here nice and neat so you can turn around, find your tools. And I cannot tell you how many times I've hit my head walking through here because he's got a tool chest buried back there. I finally took some things down because I was tired of smacking my head on it, but all these hooks and chains, not fun to get whacked in the face with that. The lucky horseshoes can stay though. Those are all the horseshoes from the old draft horses that used to plow our fields, and we found every one of those in the field as we've been working. So of course, the day started turning out great getting my load of scrap. I start working on the pile in the shop and it slows right down. Let me show you what I've got going on. And I know it's a mess. Don't judge. I didn't do it. Well, mostly I didn't do it. It's hard to know where to put something except for on the top of the pile when you don't know where it's supposed to go. And a lot of things in the shop don't have a home. So that's what I'm working on. I did get the cover on the fuse panel, and it's amazing how the time gets eaten up. I used all day yesterday doing very, very little in here. A lot of it is trying to find a home or sorting through stuff. This is a pile of finish nails, and I'm ready to just scoop them up and throw them in the garbage, because if I need a box of finish nails, I can go buy a box for $2 or $3 instead of wasting hours and hours worth of work doing this. He's got a bunch of pipe fittings here. They've been sitting on the floor. I did get the ready heater moved over, and I'm starting in on my shelf project. I actually found a 2x4. I just kind of started out with my measurement and a scrap 2x4. I went around the whole place finding a 2x4 because we just don't have a pile of lumber sitting here ready to go for projects. It's stop everything, go to Menards, or use what you've got. I used what I had, and I didn't even bother to cut that because it's only sticking out a ½ inch further than I needed. So it's going to do. But I found out these are a bunch of fittings that he had from old fuel tank jobs. And lo and behold, the pile of axes and brooms, they're going to go over here. So I started cleaning out that corner, found some car ramps that Trey can use for his tractor projects, and learned that all these are our sawmill parts. So when I cleaned out the shop, I started in on shelving everything I could. I went to that storage trailer and I pulled this off of the wall, and I'm going to cut that to make my shelf. And the hours got eaten up doing projects like this. We've got this loft up here above the workshop, and the previous owners stashed a bunch of lumber up there. And I think it was project wood that they had planned on keeping, that they tore off of the previous house or a previous shed, because there's a lot of this odd shaped stuff like the grain bin that I use as the rabbit shed that's wider on one length than the other. So I found some baseboard trim that's like 7 inches. I grabbed a couple of those, I tacked up some 2x4s, and he's got another shelf up here. This is a much better spot for all those tall fuel filters and lightweight things. I couldn't put in a center support easily, and I just copied a design that was already here. And I always thought, why is that shelf there? It is way too high to reach anything. At least now here with 2 shelf heights, he can lean a ladder up there and get to what he needs. The pile's coming along. It's a lot of little bitty stuff right now. I found a bunch of curtain rods in that storage trailer, old aluminum window screens. And if you know anything about the scrapyard, it pays better to separate your aluminum from your copper. I found a bunch of that. So I moved all the sap buckets up there. They were taking up this space here instead of being in 2 tall stacks. But of course, I couldn't find a tall ladder to upright them. As I laid in bed last night, I thought all my other maple syrup stuff is over here. Maybe I need to take them and move them over here. The trouble is, when it's time to do maple syrup, where I'm standing, I swept this all out. This is 2 tractor parking spaces. And if he really packs them in, he'll get 3 or 4 in here, because he'll put one right up against that rack, and then I can't get to that top shelf. So you can see we've got different things going on up there. Got these neat old weather vanes. I thought if we ever did that rabbit shed, I'd like to use them up there. So he's got some truck valves and pumps that he wants to keep. I can shelve those here. Put that sawmill stuff on the shelf over there. But, you know, we've got this like anti-burst giant light. Look at the cord on that. This part's all copper pipe going up here to this. I don't even know that we'll ever use it. He was afraid his dad would throw it away, so he brought it here. So, you know, he has a hard time figuring out what to throw away and what to keep. And he figures, oh, it'll look really cool hanging up on a shelf, on a wall. But you can't keep everything. And then we start running out of our own shelf space. So here he's got some truck pumping parts that he needs. They need to go under a pallet shelf or under that corner over there, and then they won't be a tripping hazard. Because you go through here in the dark, that spindle shaft that sticks out, you're in trouble. So I'm going to start in on this shelf. I'm going to get it cut. And some more stuff can get off the floor. I don't know if I can do this without extension cord. Nope. Darn it. That's one of the hardest things to find around this place, is a working extension cord. Now I did not put this extension cord this way. It needs something to roll it up on because it got dragged in, put away, probably at dark, tired at the end of the day. Miserable to use the next time. All right. All right. As you know, we've got little guys around here. I always unplug that stuff as soon as I'm done with it. Now this was using this also saved me a trip to the store. And since I've got the truck filled full of scrap, it wasn't going to happen unless I could find it around here. That's a pretty good find. These are my pair of Simple Stanley eye protection, and I bought these because I do the weed whacking. And you know, I can never find my sunglasses when I'm looking for them, and I can always find these. I keep them hung right up with our row full of ear protection because these old ones were bumping around everywhere in the shop, and they're all scratched up, and the visibility is very, very poor. As you can see, there's all this stuff here, and we just got to see what we can do to get it up off the floor. One of the first things we did when we bought the place was rip out a bunch of workbenches that were in odd places everywhere because there wasn't any central area for working. I'm kind of even thinking now about adding a separate workspace for woodworking. I've got my router and we've got the table saw. It gets hard to find things. Right. One thing that I wasn't quite sure of is the framing. All right. I got a high spot. I didn't follow a straight line. Yeah, that's all right. again. I can get it to come out. I'm out here. Okay. Yeah. I need to go up. Yep.
Where are you?
I'm out here.
What are you doing?
Taking a shelf.
Hey, you want to do the hay rake team? Look at the sky now.
That should do it this time. You know what happened is my pencil broke, so I made a couple of lines and I kind of got off. I couldn't make a line right across. I need to get I either need to put a dozen sharp pencils out here or mount a pencil sharpener out here, because it happens every time there's a project. So, let's see if we can get her in. I'm wondering if I should have a different side up. I pulled out a bunch of nails and screws. Yeah. Get rid of their design. Tracing your tools on the wall is a good way to know where things go. And I was looking at that tool shed trailer, and I thought, you know, I could probably get quite a bit of material out of there to build shelves here. I know they were all built in place, but it sure would be nice if we could bring some of the bins right over here and just mount them on a wall. All right. We are not square. Everything that these people built is not square. Well, it's a good time to have that pencil. I see why. They're 2x4 on the inside. They tip out instead of flush, sideways. So it's throwing me off here. So that's on a sideways angle. Oh, let's cut this side. Cut this side to match. You know. Yes, I'm stepping on crap. I had this, little paintbrushes, toothbrush for cleaning stuff, some pens. Broke. Another one that needs sharpened. There was a few in here when I did some honey materials a while ago. I don't know if a pen's going to quite work. If all else fails, you know what you can do? You can make a score mark. Nice. Really, all I need to do is knock the 2x4 out at the end. I'm not a designer or an engineer by any means, but I at least know that when you build, your 2x4s need to be facing the same direction. Alright. I think you got a good enough mark there. It would be a good time to have my little saw. And they set to work out. Alright. It took a couple tries, but I got it. And I tell you what, I am so happy for this. Because with this pile here, I have not even been able to sweep. Now, if you've got recycling bins around, they're great for that. Now, I'm trying to keep his things together. This is truck parts, so it needs to go someplace else. Putting it with truck brake chambers seems to be the right choice. Now, later on, don't know what it is, I labeled this. Brakes is a Suburban. This is a temporary box. When you get to that job, it'll get done. I don't know what these are. Have to ask. Got painting parts. Put that back there. There's a couple paint sprayers around here that can go with that. Aha! Paint pot number 1. There's a second one somewhere. All right, you guys help me. If you see the paint pot, the second paint pot, leave a comment down below, because I know this project's going to take me all stinking week. I spent yesterday doing this and most of today already. The sun is up. It's not quite noon yet. And I had planned on shoveling manure. He's out there fixing the stack wagon. And I'm being requested to change some teeth on the hay rake again, because I must have hit a rock. There's a paint pot. There we go. That's not going to throw on the shelf very well with all that hosing hooked up. But, just lay it down. I know, I should take some time and disconnect it. But you know what? Just the fact that this was brought here from another zip code just a week ago. So I'm just glad to have it off. Now, he's got something here. It's green. It's John Deere part. John Deere parts go on the other side of the shop. This is a big one. It's going to take 2 hands. These are the recycling bins that I said make great storage for cleaning things up off the floor. Tell you one thing I did do. He gets these drums around for diesel fluid and different things. What's this one marked? Exhaust fluid. Yep. I had Jack learning how to use the Sawzall, and we cut a top in it because there has never been a proper garbage in this shop. This little can was left here by the previous owners, and my husband just hates throwing things away. He was throwing garbage in it and scrap metal. So the scrap metal has been emptied, and I know this is big, but oh my gosh, we can never get to the garbage when we're over here working. So hopefully I'm not getting into his tractor space. This is a project for now. He can move it later when he wants to. And I am slowly making some progress over here. I know it doesn't look like it because it's bit by bit, little things, but I'm getting stuff on the shelves. It's coming along. And I got this job done. And I got that job done. This part's looking a little better too.
Well, everybody, as I mentioned, we are doing some hay on the day that I was recording this video, and I got pulled away several times to either work on the hay rake or go out to the hay field. You'll see some of that in the next video with the hay making. We were expecting rain the next day, and we are always trying to beat the rain. As you can see here, I'm unloading the scrap at the scrap yard. It was a terrible day. We had to start out early in the morning getting the hay all up in the barn. We finished right when it was starting to rain, and my day was all planned out. So I had to go on, get this truck empty because I had to go get groceries and make some trips to town, and I needed that truck. So in the rain, in the wet, I was out there unloading this truck. I want you guys to all know that I appreciate you watching, stopping in, liking our videos, and just following us along on our journeys. It's always a huge job getting this farm cleaned up every year, and I don't even know where it all comes from. So much of it is still around from the previous owners, and I'm really trying to still work on getting that shop cleaned up. I know it's going to be a job that keeps on going, but at least for now, I got a little break with the hay being done for this cutting, and I'll get back to working on that shop and right back to my other jobs. I had planned on going out to the shop after this trip to do some cleaning up and organizing and cleaning out the barn with some manure. I treated the boys who drove along with me, and we spent all of our scrap. I had mentioned sorting out the scrap for the different metals. We got more money for a handful of copper than we got for this entire load of scrap. You can see we've got household scrap here that we throw in. He wants to save it and take it into the scrap yard. It's just such a mess, but I'm so glad it's all out of here. Definitely an improvement. I just don't want it around. It's not about the money, but we were able to take the money, go have lunch, and still have money to buy a gallon of primer. So it was all in all a good job done. So that's it for this video, everybody. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.